Dude, how much further?
What's wrong, Sammy? You can't handle a little walk?
Dude, a little walk? This is not a little.
Hey, we're almost there, man. Don't worry.
Okay, but I want to take a break. Please.
Dude, again?
I'm dying here, man.
Yeah, okay. Let's go ahead and take a break. We're close anyway.
It's almost dark. Do you have the flashlights?
Yeah, I got him. Here you go, guys.
So, what did you say this place was called again? Ravenwood Mansion or something?
Ravenwood Manor. It's named after the guy who founded the town, you know? The one you live in?
Well, what's the difference between a mansion and a manor anyways? For real.
I don't know, man. The manor sounds spookier, right?
Not really. It's kind of either or, honestly.
It's just what they call it, man.
It's getting dark, like, really fast.
I think it's probably the trees. They just make it seem darker.
I don't know, man. It is pretty dark.
Well, that's why we have flashlights.
The man can breathe again.
Barely.
Praise the Lord.
Well, let's get moving then.
You got somewhere to be, Caleb?
Yeah, man. Big date. You seem like you're in a hurry.
I don't know, man. I just don't really like being in the woods, okay?
Oh, he's traumatized.
Shut up!
It's all right. This is a safe space. You can tell us anything, buddy.
Dude, let's just get where we're going, okay?
Yeah, let's head out. Flashlights on? God, it really is dark as hell. This place is so cool.
I don't know, man. It's kind of boring. Just some burned out pieces of a really old house.
You could probably breathe better if you stopped smoking.
Yeah, but then I'd have to kill you guys.
You'd live longer, too.
Don't threaten me. This place is a little creepy, actually. I'll give you that.
No kidding.
I guess you guys haven't heard the story about this place then, have you? This was all the property of Alistair Ravenwood. He was a business tycoon, owned a couple of mines in the mountains, the newspaper, the general store. I mean, hell, I think he owned just about every business in town for a while. Anyway, he was really rich, and the town's named after him, so kind of a big deal. Here's the thing, though. Legend has it that Alistair wasn't just interested in money. They say he was interested in something much darker. It was well known that he employed house servants, but he was always looking for more. I guess turnover could have been high because he wasn't paying enough, but once somebody didn't work for Alistair anymore, they were never seen again. Weird, right? It gets weirder. His monopoly on the town lasted for decades. People went missing, yet nobody questioned it because defying Alistair Ravenwood was the same as quitting your job and abandoning your house. He controlled the lives of everyone in town. Even the local government was in his pocket. I bet it was a really scary time, honestly. Rumors spread. Speculation was rampant. No one had seen Ravenwood himself for years. He'd been holed up here in a sanctuary all that time. They said he was still alive, but no one could prove it. But the town was still terrified of him. Then, one night, a woman was found in these same woods that we're in right now. Close to where we parked, I think. Some campers were setting up for bed and they heard screaming in the distance. They were scared, of course, but they knew someone needed help, so they went looking. And then they found her. She was covered in cuts, bruises, her white dress soaked with blood. She was raving about having escaped the cellar. The campers asked her what cellar. Where'd she come from? The woman was nearly incoherent, but she said it was Ravenwood's cellar. Hidden under his house, a secret place where he sacrificed his servants. She said she'd been chained up there with others for weeks and watched as one by one he slit the throats of the servants while they begged for their lives. She told him he had a book, probably a diary of some kind, and each time he killed, he'd dip a quill into his victim's blood and write for a while, before closing the book eventually and leaving. The book stayed there in the cellar with her, a terrible reminder of her impending fate. Finally, the woman was the last servant left, and she knew that Alistair Ravenwood would take her life and write in his awful book with her blood. She said that when he freed her from the chains, she summoned a strength she didn't know she had and attacked him. A struggle ensued, and she killed him with the same dagger that he'd planned to use to kill her. The campers, of course, didn't believe a word of her story. They asked her to lead them to the manor, and she did. They didn't find any cellar, but they did find Alistair Ravenwood, his wife, and several servants, all murdered. They knew by then that she was crazy, so they had to be careful. They offered to lead her into town to speak with the police and get some medical attention. It took some convincing, but eventually she agreed, and once they got into town, the men handed her over to the police and told them what they saw. That woman was never seen again. Then, in 1980, a forest fire burned hundreds of acres of these woods. That's why we have a fire watch now. One of the casualties was Ravenwood Manor, which until then had been preserved as a historic landmark and part of the state park. Rumor has it, the cellar is real, and it's here, but no one has ever found it. But a few buddies of mine have come camping out here before, and they say that if you stay late enough, you can hear the moans and screams of distant voices echoing through the night. Alistair's victims, trapped by the blood he used to fill his diary.
Oof, good story, bro. Have you considered starting a podcast?
I didn't make that up. That's our history, man. Pick up a book.
Sounds more like a conspiracy to me.
I don't know what really happened, but
I believe it.
I do too. This place, it isn't right.
It's more than just this place. It's this town. The whole town is haunted or something.
You have to be kidding, right?
No, Sam, I'm not kidding. I've seen things. I'm not crazy.
Are you sure? You are dating Jack.
dude, be for real for like 1 second.
Okay. I'm sorry, Daisy. Do you want to tell your story?
I wouldn't even really know where to start. Everyone has seen ghosts, right? Things they don't understand. But there's always an explanation for it. They're not... Well, everyone says they're not real, right? I'm not so sure. I've never told anyone this. I'm sure you guys will think I'm insane. I was 8 years old. I didn't like sleeping in my room. I slept with my parents until I was almost 7, and they decided that I needed to start sleeping by myself. I still wasn't used to it. It was dark, and I was alone. My parents were all the way on the other side of the house. The worst part was that right beside my bed, there was a big, wide window. Even with blinds and curtains, that window let in enough moonlight to bathe my room in a pale blue during the winter. There was an old tree right outside the window. When its leaves fell off, the branches looked like claws reaching out into the shadows. It made me very afraid. I had a lot of trouble sleeping because of that window, and after it happened, I told my parents about what I had seen. They said that it was just because I wasn't sleeping enough. The next morning, they took me to see a specialist. The doctors couldn't help the nightmares, of course, but they were fascinated by my brain's behavior when I was asleep. I'm getting ahead of myself. Most nights, the window would welcome in a shadow of that awful tree on the blank wall across from my bed. It was so vivid, even though it shouldn't have been. It was stark black, standing out from the darkness around it. Every night, the shadow seemed to move just a little bit closer to me. I know, like, Earth rotates and the moon moves and angles change and all that, but I'm telling you, this wasn't natural. This wasn't right. The shadow crept closer and closer every time I saw it. It filled me with panic. Several times I called for my dad, and he always came, but He always dismissed my fears and shuffled off back to bed as quickly as he could, like he never even noticed. A few times my parents let me sleep in the living room while I watched some of my favorite shows. I'm still thankful for those nights. There was one night, though. It was a full moon and my room was so brightly lit that every shadow was clear and strong against the wall. The tree was there, of course. But only now it didn't look like a tree anymore. It looked more like a person. It was closer to my bed than it had ever been, and it seemed to loom over me. I was frozen in fear. The shadow shifted from right to left like a glitch in a video. My heart pounded and I gripped the covers until my knuckles were white, pulling them up to my eyes. But I kept watching the shadow. It never moved. It stayed there, watching me. I fell asleep eventually, but it was uneasy, I remember that. And I woke up to the feeling of pressure on my mattress. As I blinked my eyes open, I felt the covers sliding down off of me. Adrenaline shot through my veins and fear made me alert. I looked down. There was some strange creature there. It looked almost like the shadow of the tree. The thing was black for sure, but the moonlight reflected off of it in a way that it gave it a slimy, shiny sheen. It had a head and arms, but the head had no face or mouth that I could see. At the end of its arms were long, dagger-like fingers. Those fingers pressed into my sheets as the creature slowly pulled them toward it. The monster was completely silent. None of its movements made a noise at all. It seemed like it was coming out of the darkness itself, just an extension of the shadows. I screamed. I screamed and screamed until my throat felt like it was going to bleed. All the while, that creature just sat there, tilting its head from side to side like a curious dog. My dad came throwing open my door in a panic, and the creature just disappeared. I was hyperventilating as I told them my story, but they didn't believe me. After a few weeks of sleep studies and me screaming every night, they switched my room over to the guest bedroom. Then we moved a couple years later. I never saw the shadow monster again. At least not yet. But I do dream about it every night.
Damn, that's terrifying. Are you okay?
When did all you guys become little Stephen Kings?
It's fucking real, Sam. I'm not making this up. I'm not telling ghost stories.
Yeah, dude, could you just, lay off the skepticism for a bit?
I'm sorry, Daisy. I don't mean to invalidate your feelings or call you a liar.
So, are you saying that you've never experienced something that you couldn't explain? Something you couldn't believe?
No, not really. I mean, I don't think ghosts are real, man. They're cool, they're interesting. I love a good spooky story, but real? No way.
I literally just told you what I saw.
And you were like 8 years old in a scary new situation in a whole new town. It's understandable that you'd get freaked out over a shadow.
Listen, that's not it, man. It's more than that. There's something really out there.
Dude, don't tell me you have a story too.
I do, actually. And it's the reason why I don't like being out here in the forest. So, I've told you guys before that I lived with my aunt growing up. I've kind of talked to you about my parents, but I don't think I ever told you guys about Pretzel. Pretzel was my dog. My aunt got him for me when I was 10. I'd been asking for a dog as far back as I remember. When she came home with him, she told me that it was a reward for showing how responsible I was by keeping up with my chores. Pretzel was just a tiny puppy when I got him. I learned later that some homeless lady at the gas station had him and 2 other puppies in a milk crate. She was selling them for $10 a piece. My aunt said she gave the lady $50, picked Pretzel out of the crate to bring home to me. He was a hairy, yappy little thing. I called him Pretzel because his fur was that perfectly toasted brown with little flecks of white all across. He looked like a pretzel. Oh, he was my best friend. We did basically everything together. He was a good boy, but he had a tendency to get kind of excited sometimes. You guys have been to my aunt's house. You've seen that giant forest that surrounds it. I didn't really like it during the daytime, but at night it was like a black hole waiting to suck me in. When I was 16, I got a job working at McDonald's after school, so a lot of the time I'd get home after dark. Well, one Friday night I got home and walked up to the door. I was tired. It had been a crazy busy day, and I just wanted to crash. I unlocked the door and opened it, and chaos erupted. Pretzel ran past me like a bullet, and I heard his little paws scurrying through the forest. My aunt was yelling, and then she noticed me. She told me I'd have to go get him. From the forest. I tell you guys, I loved that dog. I really did, but I was terrified of going into that forest. I almost just wanted to leave him. But he wouldn't have left me, so I mustered as much courage as I could and went into the forest to look for him. It was exactly as terrifying as I imagined it to be. Everything looked menacing in the darkness. I used my phone's flashlight. It didn't seem to do much good. I could still barely see a few feet ahead of me. The sounds of Pretzel running through the woods came in irregular waves, and I tried my best to follow the sounds of his paws. It just felt like I followed those sounds for hours, calling and whistling for Pretzel the whole time. He never came. And each time I heard the rustling of leaves, I thought I was getting close, but they just seemed to keep growing more and more distant. And I couldn't let him get away. I couldn't lose my best friend. Eventually, I stumbled upon a glade. It was strange. I don't really know what to call it. The clearing seemed to be perfectly circular. There were no trees or grass growing there, not even fallen leaves or broken twigs. Just nothing. Nothing but dirt. And by this time, my eyes had adjusted to the darkness. Everything was almost as clear as daylight. But the clearing was just empty. Like nothing alive was allowed inside. I was nervous. I called and whistled for Pretzel. No response. Just complete silence. Not the rustling of leaves or snapping of twigs. No hum of crickets or buzzing of bugs, just quiet. I stood there for a while. Only the sound of my heavy breathing broke the silence. I was frozen, half in fear, half just uncertainty. I couldn't see the floodlights from my house anymore, and I wasn't familiar with these woods. I didn't know where I was. I didn't know how to get back. And I didn't know where Pretzel had gone. My instinct was just to walk in the general direction I had come from, but I wasn't even sure where that was anymore. And then I heard it. It cut through the quiet like a tornado siren. A deep, guttural, clicking howl. Panic hit me. My eyes frantically scanned all around me, but I didn't see anything. The quiet returned. And then I heard it again. Another stretch of quiet. A branch snapped somewhere near me and my flight response kicked in. I ran as fast as I could. It didn't matter which direction I was going. I knew I had to get away from there. I ran until my sides ached. I was lucky I hadn't twisted an ankle or run into a tree. I had to stop for a minute. All I could manage was quick, shallow breaths. Panic and fear were in control now. Pretzel had left my mind completely. The growl came back, closer than it had ever sounded. I took off running again, but it didn't seem like it mattered where I went or how fast I ran. The growl kept coming, always closer. My legs hurt so badly. My lungs screamed with a sharp pain each time I took a breath. My heart raced. I couldn't go on, so I stopped. The growl came back again. I closed my eyes and hoped and prayed. Growl, like it was right beside me. I kept my eyes tightly shut. Growl in my ear. I felt a surge of hot air on my face. Whatever it was seemed to exhale right on me. I had never been more terrified. Another growl. Then suddenly, it was quiet again. No growls. The usual forest sounds had returned. Reluctantly, I opened my eyes. I could see the floodlights of the house. Almost sobbing with relief, I ran back as fast as my body would allow. Turns out, Pretzel had come back on his own, and my aunt had been calling for me, hoping I would come back soon. I didn't tell her what happened to me. It's not like she would believe it anyways.
So you chased your dog through the woods at night and got really scared about it.
Dude, I'm telling you, man. It's more than just...
Sam, dude, you're kind of being a jackass right now. Look at him. Look at Daisy. These aren't just stories. Can't you tell there's more to it than that?
I guess I just like to keep myself grounded in reality is all. But yeah, sure, I'm being a dick. I'm gonna take a walk.
Do you think it's true, Jack? I mean, about the manor. About the town being, like, cursed.
I know there's something definitely weird going on about Ravenwood. I'm just not sure what.
I don't think any of us want to know, honestly.
Oh yeah, Sam, you're a giant asshole because all your friends just turned into R.L. Stein and you don't believe their crazy stories. Where the hell even am I? None of this looks familiar. I couldn't have gone that far yet. I don't see the fire, though. Wait, what the Oh my god. I'm letting myself get spooked by their stories. Everything is fine. I'm fine. I just need to turn around and head back to the fire. Shit! Ow! That hurt. What the fuck? That is not the ground. What the... Oh my god. Guys, come here. Guys, get over here.
Sam, what's wrong? Are you okay?
What the hell, man?
Look right there.
Look at what? Oh.
No way.
Wait, is that
It's a fucking cellar.
Do you guys think we should check it out?
Hell no.
I thought you didn't believe in ghosts.
My vote is also no.
I think we should. Man, I want to know if the story's real.
Oh god.
Can we... hold on. Can we just assume it is, right? And use that as a very good reason not to go?
We're going.
Daisy's vote does count as 2. Sorry, you guys, you're outnumbered.
That doesn't mean we have to go in there.
Yeah. My God, yes it does. I mean, I'm not standing here in this creepy forest waiting to hear them screaming or dying or something.
You just want to scream and die with them?
Come on, crybabies. We're going in.
After you.
That's a good idea, Sam. You bring up the rear. It's so dark. Even with the flashlights, it's hard to see anything.
Jeez, yeah. How deep do you think this thing goes?
That's what she said.
Boo.
It's not my fault you guys can't appreciate comedic timing.
Hey, I can see the bottom. We're almost there.
Oh, that's a big room.
I can't see the other side. The flashlight doesn't even reach.
It looks like there's torches on the wall. I wonder if they can still be lit. Whatever material that is, it feels slick and slimy, like thick oil.
Hey, Sam, try to light one.
What? Why me?
Because you're the smoker? The one with the lighter?
Did everyone else just somehow forget how to use a lighter?
I sure did.
Yep, me too.
Okay, so if it's something weird that I'm the one that gets a fireball in the face,
Exactly.
are we even really friends?
Hell yeah.
Might as well light the rest of them.
I knew you'd say that.
Whoa. This place is massive.
Guys?
There's holes in the wall? That's weird. Looks too big to be for wine.
Guys!
Dude, what's wrong?
Ah! What the fuck?
There's bodies? There's bodies in these holes in the wall. Look!
What? Oh my god, holy shit, what the fuck, man?
Oh my god, that's so creepy.
We need to get the fuck out of here right now. We need to report this place to the cops and never come back.
I think it might be a bit late for that. They're all fucking skeletons, dude. These had to be 100 years old at least. They're fucking ancient.
Well, they're ancient, but it seems like they're telling us to get the fuck out of here. I'm with Sam.
The far end of the room, there's some kind of altar. Wait, do you think this is...
It's gotta be. This has gotta be the Ravenwood kill room. I want to see that altar. No way! That's a fucking book, dude!
Oh, like the story?
You guys are a bit too excited for this. What the fuck?
No, this is historically significant. We just found the fucking fabled Ravenwood cellar. This could be Ravenwood's blood book.
Don't touch it.
Dude, no chance. I gotta check this out. Hey, what the hell, Sam?
I'm telling you, man, don't touch it.
What's with this dark and brooding thing all of a sudden?
Yes, Sam. I mean, I'm scared too, but don't you think you're being a little extra?
My grandma warned me about this, man.
You're kidding, right?
I don't think he is.
I'm not. My grandma was... Well, we all thought she was crazy. The whole family. We thought she was completely losing it. She'd somehow convinced herself that she could see the future like some kind of prophet. But she could only predict horrible things. She told my Uncle Martin at Thanksgiving one year that he needed to shape up or he'd lose everything he ever loved. Everyone sort of laughed it off at the time, classic crazy grandma chiding her black sheep son. But I distinctly remember a few months later, my uncle had to come to stay with us for a while because he'd made a bad investment and all his money was gone. His wife left him. They didn't have any kids, at least, and a year later, well, my grandma was right. After Uncle Martin's funeral, my grandma mostly just made small claims. You're gonna get a flat tire. You're gonna have the flu next month. They were all true. We excused it as a few odd coincidences, at least those of us that even remembered her crazy ramblings. But my grandma's last words were something else. She was 99 years old. It was the night before her 100th birthday. Most of the family had met at her house, and the hospice nurse came out to let everyone know they needed to say their goodbyes. We went one by one. It seems stupid now. She was dying. Any of her words could have been her last. Everyone should have all been there around her. I went into her room. Her frail body lay on the bed. Machines I didn't understand attached to her through IVs and wires. Each breath she took sounded like a howling wind, like it hurt. I approached the bed slowly, nervous and afraid. I'd never seen someone die, and I didn't want this to be the first time. Her eyes had been closed, but when I got close, they flew open and her bright green irises seemed to glow. She looked at me. There was a calmness, a sense of peace, and a deep sadness. Her lips curled into a shallow smile. "Do not touch the book," she said. "It will hurt you." Confusion and fear washed over me. It was difficult to process those words. What book? Hurt me how? I asked her both questions. "One day," she croaked, "one day you will dive into the earth and you will find a book. Do not touch it." She went silent. The machines monitoring her life began to beep like alarms. There was a terrible, guttural release of air from her lungs. Nurses ran in and tried every procedure and tool that they knew, but it was no good. My grandmother was gone. Her funeral was a somber affair. She had been the glue of the family for so long. After that, we all drifted apart. We don't get together for Thanksgiving or Christmas anymore, or any other holiday for that matter. It's been years. That happened when I was 14, I think. That's so long ago. I had mostly forgotten her last words, but this was a pretty solid reminder.
Holy shit.
What the fuck was that?
I think the door's just slammed shut.
Anybody want to go check?
I think we should all go now. We need to get out of here. I'm kind of freaking the fuck out now.
Fuck! It was the doors.
Well, can we just push them open?
Right.
God damn it, I knew we shouldn't have come here.
Guys, there's something in the room.
What are you talking about?
I saw something move. It was just a shadow in the light, but...
Babe, I'm sure it's fine. All we gotta do is push these doors open and we'll head back home.
I don't think that's coming open.
Me neither, dude.
It has to. God damn it has to. There was nobody around to lock it.
Guys?
What?
Oh God, what the fuck is that? Wait, what the fuck? What the fuck?
He's gone. He was just there.
We have to get out of here.
It's no good, Jack. I told you we shouldn't have come in here.
What are we gonna do? Oh my god, it cut Jack.
We shouldn't have come. We shouldn't have come. Oh God, please, I didn't touch it. I just.